Welcome to Sanlando Sound Waves. We're at week 1, day 1, the very beginning. Our scripture today, of course, comes from Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Now let's take a look at our 7 arrows, or our 7 questions, about these 2 verses. This is page 15 of our book, 7 Arrows. Arrow 1. What does this passage say? Are there any interesting words or phrases? Any repetitions? What stands out to you? Arrow 2. What did this passage mean to its original audience? Arrow 3. What does this passage tell us about God? Arrow 4. What does this passage tell us about man? Arrow 5. What does this passage demand of me? Arrow 6. How does this passage change the way I relate to people? And arrow 7, what does this passage prompt me to pray to God? There was never a time when God did not exist. Our Bible begins with the story of creation, yet God existed long before he created the world. Genesis 1 begins in the beginning of human history, but it is not the beginning of God's story. He is eternal, meaning that he always was and always will be. It's hard for us to get our minds around this reality. Our lives seem so big most days. We've got so much to do, so many people competing for our attention, and so many things that make us worry about the future. We can easily lose sight of that fact that God is so much bigger than we are. He was at work long before we were born and will continue to exist long after our lives are over. Since our lives are so small in comparison, it's critical that we understand our lives from the perspective of God's story. Who is God? Why did he create all things? The answers to these questions help us catch a glimpse of how our lives fit within the great story that the eternal God is writing in the world. That's it for today, friends. Hope to see you tomorrow for week 1, day 2.